Welcome to God's Word on Air with Nelly Eguterai. We are so glad you could join us. Every message is designed to build your faith, line upon line, and precept upon precept. And now, let's continue last week's message.
Hello once again. You're welcome to God's Word on Air with Nelly Eguterai. I want to thank you for just allowing me to occupy your air spaces right now. And I want to also thank you for just following me on this series, Child Sexual Abuse and Associated Trauma. Like I said from day one, it is an appropriate topic to handle at such a time as this, because this evil is actually, you know, all around us, and we need to be empowered to help our vulnerable ones, our children. And like last week, I was talking about take home for parents. As parents, what are your take home from this teaching? Now, this is my fifth teaching, and I hope to conclude it today, hopefully. So, what are your take home as parents and as caregivers? I was talking about talk to your children about sex early. I think that's where I stopped last week. Teach them about how their body works, i.e., what is arousal. Arousal is just a reflex reaction. Teach them that why teach them touching why touching certain parts of their bodies make them feel the way it does, and that nobody is allowed to touch those body parts, so they will not innocently equate it with love. I was talking about this last week. When these hormonal changes begin to happen, you were children too. When it begins to happen in your body, most times they don't understand. So they need us as adults to help them to understand. So teach them when these hormonal changes begins to happen, it's normal. It's a biological phase. For mothers, for parents that have, or for parents or parents that have sons, for example, you see when they get to that early teens, they begin to have what do you call it? Early morning sun rising, early morning. What's the word? I'm trying to use the word now. They have erections. Yes, they have erections. Early morning erections. It doesn't mean that they are ready for sex. It just means that their body is functioning properly. So most times, because we've seen those things as a taboo, so even the child tries to hide it and tries to force it. Let this, because they don't understand. They feel, oh, why am I having this? I'm a bad person and all that. No, teach them. It's normal. It's a normal cycle of life. It's a normal biological reaction to their hormones, so that they are comfortable in their skin. They're not ashamed, so that even when they experience anything, they can talk to you about it. So sex is not a taboo. Teach them it should be done in the right place. So, for example, a child that begins to have erections, a teenager begins to have erection, does not mean that he's ready to go and have sex everywhere. So if you don't teach them and you make them feel ashamed of it, and they it will damage their self-esteem. Or you see a girl begin to develop breasts, it's a normal hormonal thing. It's not something you begin to make her feel embarrassed about it. And it doesn't mean that because she has breasts, so she's ready to be a mother, she's ready to breastfeed. No, it's a normal biological changes that she should have. So that they don't innocently equate such for, oh, I'm ready to fall in love now, I'm ready to have a relationship. No. Then another thing again parents should take note of is pay attention to your child. Pay attention to who your child is spending time with, no matter who. Suddenly your child develops an interest or seemingly interest in a particular person, maybe an adult or older child. Watch out. Try to, without being too intrusive, try to find out what's going on. Okay? Don't allow your child to be isolated. I keep saying this with a person. For example, you see parents, I just wonder when I drive and I see it happen. You see a young girl in a car being taken to school by the driver, no minder, no parents, no other adults with the child, and they do long distances, and day in and day out that child is spending time alone with the driver. It's actually not a very good um, situation. okay? Because you are just giving that the if that person is a perpetrator, you are giving me good opportunity to actually psychologically work on your child until all her resolves are broken down, all her inhibitions are broken down, and it can easily um, molest her. Okay, so minimize the opportunity. You have a child that you maybe a female child, even a male child, because we always think that it's just the females that are actually victims, and you just leave your child for the opposite sex as teachers, and just leave them in an isolated place. So he's teaching my daughter, and we don't want to distract them, and you leave them in a room all alone for 2 3 hours, day in and day out. It's very wrong. You're actually just creating a very conducive atmosphere for the perpetrator if that adult is one. So don't pay attention to who your child is spending time with, and minimize the opportunities for your child to be molested. Then the third one I want to talk about is educate yourself on the signs of child sexual abuse. Like I have been on it. This is the 5th week. Educate yourself. Information is power. Information is power. Look out for the signs. I told us the signs earlier. Told us the signs, the trauma associated with it. Your child suddenly becomes depressed, withdrawn, anxious, fearful, stop eating, begin to have sleep disorder, start using drugs, start misbehaving, grades are dropping in school. You should know something is wrong. Okay? So you should investigate further. And or your child suddenly starts having nightmare, or your child, the one that is most common. Once a child is being exposed to such, it might not be full-blown abuse. It might be, maybe there's an attempt. Most times you see the child begin to use sexual words. They use more of sexual words. You hear them using vulgar words more. You should know that something is going on. Where is this child picking this from? They use vulgar words, sexual words laced with sexual connotations, and they begin to behave in a certain way that are not age appropriate for that child. You should know something is wrong, and you should be able to pick it up and be alert and vigilant about it. These are for younger children, maybe. But for older children, you see that they begin to dabble with substance abuse, they become hypersexual, or they become sex addicts. They begin to have eating disorder because they are conscious of their body, either anorexia or bulimia. Then they start gaining weight. Then you see them, they suddenly change their mode of dressing. They begin to wear bigger clothes, baggy clothes, long sleeve shirts. Especially when they are doing drugs, they begin to try to cover the jabs, the mark of the jabs of the needle, and they begin to wear baggy clothes. They are trying to hide the shame and guilt they feel, and also they try to look unattractive to the abusers. It's a way of protecting themselves. You see that they just leave themselves. They become they stop grooming themselves because they feel, maybe because I'm attractive to my abuser, so let me begin to leave myself unkept. When you see such changes, try to investigate as parents or as caregivers. You know something is wrong. Okay? They be open to communication and listen. They are no longer, they are no longer, they don't want to talk to you anymore. They withdraw. They withdraw. You see that they want to be on their own. So you as parents, take note of this. Try to find out what's going on. Try to find out. Try to speak to them. Don't allow them to just withdraw. Try to intervene in a very subtle and a very not in a not in a very forceful or threatening way. Try to intervene. Try to find out what's going on. Try to speak to them. Try to question them. Then, in case of abuse, you know, be more supportive, especially when they've told you this is happening. be more supportive. You know, you see them, don't they withdraw into their shell. That's not when you start forcing them. You know, you observe this and try to find out from them what is going on. Like I always say, seek help. Don't ever blame them. Don't make them narrate the episode again and again. It's traumatic for them, especially when there's a full-blown abuse. When there's a full-blown abuse, get professional help. Believe them when they tell you they are being abused. You know, most times, when even just imagine a child comes to you to tell you his father or his mother is abusing him or her father is abusing her. You know, most times the first thing is it's not possible. But that's not when to doubt. That's when to investigate. Believe, because the worst thing you can do to them is when you don't believe them. When you don't believe them, you have just scattered their little trust that they had for adults around them. So they feel, immediately that happens, they feel they are all alone. They need to protect themselves. So but you can believe them and trust them, then you are on the right path to helping them. Get professional help. I keep saying this. I will not stop saying this because that is what they need. Most times as caregivers, as parents, we are not trained to be able to help these children. So get professional help. Okay, so what are the take home for teens? I want parents to please share this with their teenagers, their children. Like I said, age, whenever you're educating children about sex education, for example, use age appropriate words, because for every age we have the right way and the right word to use and way to teach them. So what are the take homes for teenagers? I have 10 rules here. I'll quickly run through them and we can use it for our children. Tell them, for teenagers, your body belongs to you. No one has the right to touch it without your permission. Number 2 says it is not okay for you to engage in any sexual behavior with adults or any child. 3, it is not okay for adults to take pictures or videos of you in sexual positions or unclothed. 4, you must refuse anyone who attempts to touch your private body parts. 5 says you have a right to speak up and tell when a touch is not okay. 6, you don't have to do everything an adult tells you to do. 7, do not keep secrets away from your parents or trusted adults around you. It will hurt you later. 8, do not give your personal information out on the internet. Then 9, if someone offers you gifts, for example, money or drugs, do not accept them. Rather, tell your parents or trusted adults immediately. Then 10, the last, take action. It is your right to report any sexual abuse to your parents or trusted adults. Those are the 10 things I want our teens to take home. So for parents that are listening to this, you can use this, you can give this to your children. You can even go through these teachings with them. It will help them. It will help them. It's also a form of information for you to be armed to help these vulnerable ones, because they are looking up to you and I to take care of them. They are still in that tender age. They are still trying to discover the world around them. So please, let's help them to grow into wonderful, beautiful, um, um, awesome adults. And our society will be better for it. And please do not be afraid to report. I see a lot of it happen. A child is being abused and even the adults around them want to just sweep it under the carpet because of maybe the stigma and the shame. The truth is that when we do that, we're actually empowering the perpetrators to go ahead to continue to abuse more children in the future. So let's say no to child sexual abuse. God bless you. I've come to the conclusion of this series and I hope I've been able to do justice to this topic, and I also hope that it will help someone out there. And please, like I said earlier, let's also use this. Let's listen to this with our children, whether they are especially for older children. and let's encourage them to speak up and to speak out. God bless you until we meet next week, same time on my social media handles. Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's message. For more information, prayer requests, or to share your testimonies, send us an email at godswordonair@gmail.com and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or listen to us on MixLR, all at God's Word on Air with Nelly Eguterai. Till we meet again, same time next week, keep building your faith on God's Word.